Join us for a review of the new updated Toyota CHR. Let's go! Yes, a facelift also means changes on the exterior, as it is called. And by the way, please subscribe if you haven't done so far. And thanks again for all long-term subscribers. Here, what have they done? So they made the styling a little bit more bold in the front. That means here the lower grille is a little bit wider. Then the fog lamps, they went to the outside here. And also you can get either this contrasting spoiler lip or it comes in vehicle color depending on the trim. Then also the headlamps changed a little bit from the signature. LED is standard, both front and rear actually. And you can see this is the daytime running light in the top part, then the main LED unit right there. And this one here, the daytime running light, changes to the turning indicator. So this is basically one unit, so also quite interesting. It looks a little bit fresher, a little bit stronger than before. 4.39 m, 14'4" or 173 inches is the length of the Toyota CHR. So small or compact, depending on the definition, crossover or small SUV, again, also depending on your definition. And it has a really, screaming out side profile. That's also why people buy it. So 43% of all customers buy it because of the design. You can also get a dual tone roof as this one here in black, but now available since the facelift is also that you can get a metal gray contrasting roof color that might also fit here to the blue, well, nebula blue exterior color. Very interesting. And here, of course, the most spectacular falling roof line. Yeah, this will limit the trunk, of course, also with this huge wing right here, but that's also what makes the design screaming out. Here, integrated handles for the rear doors. We, of course, go in depth on the interior very soon. So, I'm always totally honest with you guys. And I really have to say, when I saw the CHR for the very, very first time, I would think like, what the hell is this? But I always have to say, sometimes those cars grow a little bit on you. And now, meanwhile, I rather think, yeah, it's definitely still special. But I also like it when cars are not boring, But definitely this is splitting opinions quite a lot. What do you think? Here now in the facelift, what have they done? There's a new black element here on the top part, this, second wing, so to say, that goes all the way from right to left or from left to right over the vehicle. And also a new signature here for the tail lamps. They also come with LED technology. And they also feature a cascading indicator light. Also quite interesting. As for engines, you start with a 1.2-liter petrol turbo engine with about 120 horsepower and just about 11 seconds to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour in the acceleration. Then you have the 1.8-liter hybrid, made to a naturally aspirated engine, also around 120 horsepower and also somewhat the same acceleration figure. That one also has an update. And then there's the new 2-liter hybrid, which you see here with about 180 horsepower, and this one is 3 seconds faster in the acceleration, so around 8 seconds is the acceleration figure right there. So that's definitely a massive power output difference. This is the car key. By the way, CHR stands for Coupe High Rider. Yeah, some naming guys played in the kindergarten there, I guess. So yeah, but you also have a keyless entry. You can put your thumb there. At the moment the car is complaining because the ignition is on. Then you can also open it again and hear the door closing sound. That sounds a little bit weird. So yeah, obviously didn't pay attention to the door closing sound. But what they paid attention to is now more soft touch materials. For example, also soft touch at the inside of the doors. That's new. This one, we've seen it so far, but I think it's really cool here in this trim. It's a hard material, but it's structured, and also then with blue accentuations right there. So it looks really cool, feels cool. Then a leather red right there. So really upgrade the materials. Slim door pocket, not so well to use. Then the rest of the interior is also very interesting here with those blue decor elements right there. And then a blue or purple leather red. So it's also cool. So really good materials they put right there. Steering wheel can be controlled up and down and also in reach. I'll show that to you very soon. Infotainment system upgrade, soon more to that. Then as for the seats, you start with a fabric seat as base if you want to go for the lower spec, but they are also just fine. This one would be an upgrade then here with Alcantara on the inside. On the outer parts, I did not get the exact information yet, but some should be leatherette, some should be real animals. So at least the main thing is Alcantara. But as I said, the pure fabric seats will also do just fine. So what about the comfort? Well, I take a seat right here, and you don't sit too high, so you don't exactly get a true SUV feeling. But it's also not the same feeling as in a normal passenger vehicle in a compact hatch or something. So you sit a little bit higher, just a little bit, so more than crossover I like. But the seating position is actually quite comfortable. So those quite sporty looking seats, they offer you very decent comfort. I like that. And even if you put the seats in the lowest position here with the electric support, with 1.86 m or 6'1", I still got some decent headroom. Now the interior overview. What's definitely standing out is this infotainment system. And yeah, it's really very interesting. It really stands out. But that's also, you can better control than wire touch, although it still has a lot of buttons right here. And yeah, that's the biggest news here in the interior. Finally, the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto support also for the European Toyota cars now being upgraded in all the new models or facelift upgrades and so on when they come. So that's definitely really good. And you see they also use most of the space they have right here. In this case, for this trim, we also have those Alcantara seats on the rear passenger side. So also beautiful job. Isofix at the outer seats each, but there's also a middle seat available. I will also test seat this one now. And yeah, it looks a little bit cramped, but how cramped is it really? Of course, no changes here in the facelift, and I can't sit here as a tall adult as I would be driving. Yeah, I touched the front seat. It does exactly fit. Also headroom-wise, it does exactly fit. No more, no less, so to say. So, that's not the most unique feature about this car, but it still works somehow with 4 adults. As for the middle seat, it's it's not too hard, and I can sit here. But when 2 big people are next to me, or even 3 of my size next to each other, yeah, that would get a little bit close. So, you can still use it. That's okay, but nothing plentiful. Then you flip the seat already from here. Of course, we'll take a detailed look from trunk. There's no middle armrest here whatsoever. I think we can definitely live with that. So it looks even more cramped from the outside than it actually is on the inside, so I think we can still be satisfied. Now to the luggage compartment, and yeah, it's a really interesting hatch, definitely, and it's also quite heavy to close it again, but of course still okay. Here on the inside you can also grab it, that you don't, make your hands dirty when it's really dirty on the outside. Then I would probably recommend to remove this cover. Yeah, it's still useful for sound dampening while driving, but of course if you need to transport some more luggage, it can make sense to put it out. This one here, about 380 liters of capacity in the normal versions, 1.2 and 1.8. Here in the bigger hybrid, just 360 liters, so you lose a little bit. And then this lower part here, you have some more storage that can be used quite well too. And then here they store the normal car battery. You also need that with a hybrid. Even with electric vehicles, you often need the normal car battery, for example, just to start up the car. So Here we go. And then just to show you, when I put a backpack in here, yeah, that gets closed. The trunk still does close somehow, but yeah, so that still works. But you see it gets really, really close to this top cover right there. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Toyota CHR in this facelift. And the cool thing about the inbuilt hybrid is you start in EV mode, but as soon as you accelerate a little bit more, there's the combustion engine hopping on, and it depends on the status of the battery. If it's a little bit fuller, then it's a little bit longer EV and so on. And it constantly changes, and you usually stay in this hybrid driving mode. As I said earlier, when you have enough capacity available, you can click this EV mode. At the moment unavailable, but if there's more capacity at the moment available, sorry, not the capacity, like more power in the battery available at the moment, then you can also use this EV mode a little bit longer if you want to induce that especially. Here on Estrada do Guincho, near Cascais, Portugal, such a beautiful area, such a beautiful beach, and always love to be here for car presentations. So there are actually three major things they upgraded here with the facelift of the Toyota CHR. And that basically counts for all models available. But I will also go into the specifics of the 2-liter hybrid engine very soon. So first thing is they worked on the noise insulation. So, and also less vibrations from the engines, better dampening and so on. And indeed, it's more silent here in this interior. It really feels refined and yeah, some kind of premium feel definitely. It resonates. Wow, what a beautiful view always, but take care of the cyclist first and then of the view. So it really resonates with the upgraded materials and so on. So noise insulation upgrade, that's the first thing. And we also drove a longer route on the motorway yesterday evening. And yeah, I mean, at 120 kilometers an hour, there were some wind noise from the A-pillar, because that stands really, quite far away maybe from the side mirror, but that was quite normal. Overall, it was also on the motorway very relaxing with this car, especially about 100 kilometers, 60 miles an hour. That was really perfect. Then the second thing is they upgraded the steering feeling. So before it was quite numb, and here it's still light, but it has more connection to the road, so it feels more natural. So they really worked on that, and that's, maybe it's just a small change, but it so much contributes to the driving fun. There's no real dead area of this steering wheel in the angle, and you just have a natural steering feeling, and that's what I really love when cars have that. Especially nowadays with all those assistance systems. Some cars tend to have artificial feeling steering wheels or steering feelings, and that's not the case here. So that's a great update, definitely. And third major upgrade is the suspension. So before it was somewhat okay, but even it felt a little bit rough at time. You rather thought, oh, it's a very sporty suspension. But it was not that comfortable in situations where you had some bumps on the road and so on. Now, really great update, more comfort than before. That again also counts for all the models. But the 2-liter hybrid gets the most extensive care about the new suspension. So a little bit different hardware here even for this suspension. And I talked to the engineer earlier, and he has already driven the updated 1.8 suspension as well, so for the 1.8 hybrid. And he said, yes, also better, but this one here maybe even a little notch better. And now we come to our conclusion of today with the new Toyota CHR. So indeed, when we talk about facelifts, sometimes there are minor changes, sometimes there are so big changes that you sometimes think, oh, it's an all-new car. I think here it's quite significant. It's not an all-new car, no, but they really have changed a lot. And starting with the exterior, we've seen that it's a little bit more refined, a little bit more bold in the character. I think that fits very well, and of course here, especially in this Thomas blue color. I would really like to see how it looks like with this new grey contrasting roof, this metal grey. That could look even cooler, especially in this Thomas blue color. Nebula blue was the real name for today. On the interior, even more refined materials, so it really has a premium touch meanwhile. So yeah, it's not the cheapest model as well, and they also topped up the price. Yet again, there's more extra equipment, so I think that's quite okay. But you really get more for your money now, I think. Yeah, the infotainment system software, that's still something. I mean, let's be honest, it's rubbish, the software they have on there. But since we now finally, also in Europe, have the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, this is what you're going to be using most of the time. And then the rest of the infotainment system also doesn't matter that much software-wise. You still can get something in this car, yes, but of course the trunk is the big limitation. So we too, Jonas and I today, yeah, we had some struggles to get all our luggage with us. So that's definitely the limit of this vehicle. Then again, it has a compact size, so you get along with it in the city very well. And you can go for this turbo, yes, but then again, the hybrid is what also makes this car standing out. Also, if you think about the competition, you have those electric moments. The new hybrid, the bigger one, is also a little bit more elaborate to drive. Yet again, the 1.8 gets a lithium-ion battery. I would really like to test that one also at the later stage, because it's supposed to be a little bit more spontaneous from the get-go. So really looking forward to do that. The biggest argument to go for the facelift version is, to me, the updated steering, which feels more natural, better to drive. Then of course NVH, the better noise insulation engine, also against wind noise, and of course this upgrade suspension, which counts for all models. But yet again, the 2-liter hybrid gets hardware wise the best new suspension. So all suspensions are better than before, but this one here especially good. That might be, to me, the main reason to go for this 2-liter hybrid then. But overall, I think really good upgrades they found here with this vehicle. So I think one of the best facelift changes we've seen recently. And of course then quite low in a fuel consumption if you think about this 5.5 liter, which is again, everything always way above 40 mpg, no matter if US or UK mpg. That's definitely quite cool. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Please also tune in next time. You can also check the pre-facelifted version if you're more interested in a used CHR. Then we also have had a little bit different color. And of course tune into the competitors. Nissan Juke, for example, Volkswagen T-Roc. We will also link those videos in the video description and in the pinned comment. So, and now leave us your comments. I hope you really enjoyed this episode here today from sunny Portugal, and see you next time.